Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Miami at the Exchange ETF conference. Joining me for this segment, we have Conway. He's the founder and CEO of Seeds Investor. We're going to talk about a niche that is not a niche. It is great to have you with us, Zach. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
It's interesting. Indicators point to the fact that investors want more personalized, values-aligned solutions for their portfolios, but advisors are failing to meet this demand. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's interesting. When we look at industry surveys and ask retail investors, is this something you want, right? Do you want a portfolio that can bring to life what you care about and who you are as an investor and still meet your financial objectives? People say yes, most of the time. And I think financial advisors, unfortunately, don't see that demand, right? Because who does a retail investor look to reveal what the options are for how you invest your money? Their financial advisor. Right? And because advisors are not offering that as a solution, and the retail investor is not knocking on their door demanding it, there's sort of this stalemate happening between advisors and the end client. So trying to solve that and have advisors understand this is something people are asking for, and then figuring out how to actually address that demand.
So then for advisors, what's the business case?
Growth. So when we look at the last 5 years, advisors are really struggling to grow, right? So net of market performance, we've actually had net negative revenue growth over the last 5 years. So if this is something that retail investors are actually looking for and expecting, and they're sort of waiting for their advisor to reveal it and bring it to life for them, that's the business case, right? If you address that need, which we think, again, is the niche that's not a niche, then they're going to be able to grow their businesses. That's what we believe.
Is there a particular client that's good for this type of approach?
I think there's an assumption that happens that this is for the millennial, right? Mm-hmm. This is just for the millennial segment of clients. And we always, again, try to point out that maybe millennials are more knowing that this is an option than other segments of the client base. But again, if you reveal to all of the different demographics of your client base, so age, size of wallet share and the wealth of the client, all different demographics, people say yes when they know it's a choice. So if you sort of untap that unexpressed demand as an advisor across all of those segments, that's the massive opportunity.
So how can advisors determine if a client is amenable for this type of strategy?
So I think that's the other big challenge that advisors are sort of worried about is how do I ask the right questions? So if people do want personalization, what does that mean to every client who walks in my door? What questions do I ask? And how do I have a framework for asking those questions? So beyond my risk tolerance questionnaire, how do I figure out what's important to you? So having that sort of input-output framework, what questions do I ask? And then based on what the client tells me, what's the investment solution on the other side, right? How do I bring that to life in that personalization? And so I think that's what they're trying to build.
So what's an example of a couple of questions that you would ask? Are you looking for companies that are focused on environmental solutions, that have a certain type of governance on their platform?
You're my retail prospective client walking in the door. You tell me what's important to you about what you want to bring to life in your portfolio. Do you care about that deep values alignment? Now that you know it's a choice, right, in your portfolio, is that important to you? And if it is, how so? So to your point, is it environmental issues and corporate behavior related to those issues? Or is it how companies treat their workforce, or all sorts of different issues related to values, but also beyond that? How analytical are you? How do you think about the investment process, and how can a portfolio bring that to life?
Exactly. Appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me from Exchange. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.